Counting on Jim Bob Duggar spotted at man camp? Counting on alum Jim Bob Duggar hasn't been active on social media since the CSAM arrest of his son, Josh, in April 2021. The 59-year-old barely appears at family gatherings and other celebrations. However, some Redditors think he participated in controversial activity with his in-laws. Keep reading to see what it was. Counting on Jim Bob Duggar's latest sightings. One of the latest sightings of Jim Bob was during Jed and Katie's gender reveal party. Counting on alum was surprised to learn he has twin granddaughters from a married couple. Many fans have also noticed that he has lost so much weight, but others think it's due to the stress that Josh brought to the family. Jim Bob has also appeared in some of Jana's previous IG stories. One of them was a clip of the family having lunch for Mother's Day. Unfortunately, the Duggar family patriarch no longer talks that much to the cameras, seemingly avoiding negativity. Jim Bob spotted at man camp? Some Redditors discussed new photos from the Forsyth family's IG page featuring their man camp day. It was organized by Austin Forsyth's father, Terry. It features several dangerous activities, such as shooting firearms. According to the poster, one of the photos seemingly shows the back of Jim Bob Duggar. It's unclear if it was the counting on alum, but he's known for participating in such activities. LOL. Man camp. Wait, it's actually called man camp. I thought that was snark in the title. Welcome to man camp. Our curriculum consists of being in the woods for long periods of time with men, just men, for many days at a time. Up in the cabins with lots of men, or down in the church basement with lots of men. The guy in the back on the left? That guy sits like Jim Bob, and it's weird that I know that. I cannot believe all of those hats on during a church service. The fact that they called it man camp. OMG, I am cackling. Counting on Jim Bob Duggar trying to bring his family back to TV. There are also speculations that Jim Bob is planning to bring his family back on the reality show. This comes after Jana returned to social media after a 2-year hiatus. The counting on alum later sparked rumors that she's engaged. According to some, Jim Bob Duggar may be planning to let TLC or other networks document his oldest daughter's possible marriage, which could easily blow up. TLC has yet to share if they're bringing back the family on the small screens. They parted ways with them when Josh was arrested for CSAM, saying that they were giving them privacy and space. If you are looking for more Duggar family news, come back to TV Shows Ace for all your updates. The Duggar family has long been a subject of public fascination, stemming from their reality TV fame, large family dynamics, and most notably, their religious convictions. Among the central figures is Jim Bob Duggar, the patriarch of the family, whose strong views on faith, family, and traditional gender roles have kept him in the public eye for years. Recently, rumors have swirled about Jim Bob Duggar's involvement in something called Man Camp, a Christian-based retreat aimed at reinforcing traditional masculinity. But what exactly is Man Camp, and why might someone like Jim Bob Duggar be spotted there? What is Man Camp? Man Camp is not your typical wilderness retreat. While many men's retreats focus on bonding activities, relaxation, and perhaps light spiritual reflection, Man Camp goes several steps further. This type of retreat is designed to help men reconnect with their biblical manhood, a concept that has gained popularity within certain religious circles. Attendees often engage in a series of physical and mental challenges, all aimed at reaffirming their roles as providers, protectors, and spiritual leaders of their families. The retreat also places heavy emphasis on traditional gender roles, promoting the idea that men should be strong, authoritative, and decisive, while women should be submissive and nurturing. For someone like Jim Bob Duggar, whose public image has always aligned with these principles, Man Camp would seem like a natural fit. Jim Bob Duggar's connection to the Man Camp movement. Although Jim Bob Duggar has not publicly confirmed his participation in any specific Man Camp event, recent photos and reports suggest that he was spotted at a similar retreat. The news has sparked conversation, particularly among those familiar with Duggar's long-standing beliefs. His appearance at such a camp would likely be consistent with his well-documented advocacy for traditional conservative values. Jim Bob has long been vocal about his adherence to a patriarchal family structure. Throughout the many seasons of 19 Kids and Counting and later Counting On, Duggar's views on gender roles were a central theme. He has consistently portrayed himself as the head of the household, tasked with leading his family both spiritually and morally. His wife, Michelle, and their daughters have been portrayed as submissive and devoted to serving their husbands and fathers, further underscoring the patriarchal framework of their beliefs. Given this context, it's not surprising that Duggar would be linked to an event like Man Camp, which aims to reinforce these ideals. For Jim Bob, this retreat may have been less about personal transformation and more about further solidifying the values he already holds. Why Man Camp now? Some may wonder why Jim Bob Duggar would attend such a camp now at this stage in his life. After all, he has long been a champion of traditional masculinity, both in his own life and through his influence on his children, particularly his sons. So why seek out further reinforcement? There are several potential reasons for this. For one, the Duggar family has faced significant public scrutiny and challenges in recent years, particularly surrounding the criminal charges against Jim Bob's eldest son, Josh Duggar. Josh's conviction on charges related to child pornography has shaken the family's reputation and thrown their values into question in the eyes of many. For someone like Jim Bob, who has built his public persona around faith and family, such a scandal might feel like a direct attack on the very foundation of his beliefs. In this context, attending a man camp could be seen as a way for Jim Bob to reaffirm his own values and find spiritual rejuvenation. The camp could serve as a place to regroup, refocus, and potentially seek guidance on how to continue leading his family through a very public and painful ordeal. For a man so deeply committed to his role as the head of the household, this kind of retreat might offer both solace and a renewed sense of purpose. What does this mean for the Duggar family? If Jim Bob Duggar is indeed attending man camp, it could have implications for the broader Duggar family dynamic. The Duggars have always been a close-knit unit, bound not only by blood, but also by a shared commitment to their faith. However, the past few years have seen several Duggar children branching out and pursuing lives that differ from the strict upbringing they experienced. Jinger Vuolo, one of Jim Bob's daughters, has been particularly outspoken about how she has reevaluated some of the more rigid beliefs of her family, including their views on gender roles and faith. Jim Bob's potential involvement in man camp could signal a desire to double down on the family's traditional values, even as some of his children seem to be moving in different directions. It's possible that by attending this retreat, Jim Bob is seeking not only personal rejuvenation, but also a way to inspire his sons, many of whom are now fathers themselves, to carry on the family's legacy of patriarchal leadership. Public reactions and criticism. As with most things involving the Duggars, Jim Bob Duggar's rumored appearance at man camp has drawn mixed reactions. Supporters of the family, particularly those who share similar religious beliefs, have praised Jim Bob for continuing to lead his family with conviction. For them, man camp represents a positive way for men to reconnect with their spiritual roots and embrace their roles as leaders. However, critics have been quick to point out the problematic aspects of man camp and similar retreats. The emphasis on rigid gender roles and the idea that men must assert dominance over their families is seen by many as outdated and harmful. Detractors argue that such camps only reinforce toxic masculinity and further entrench harmful stereotypes about both men and women. In the wake of these criticisms, some have also questioned whether Jim Bob's involvement in such an event could alienate more of his children, particularly those who have already begun to distance themselves from the family's more